In Germany, Tim and Liv are enjoying their married life. Liv even gets pregnant and the couple is very excited about it, but things take a sad turn when Liv loses the child. Now Tim spends most of his time working as a programmer for a video game company, and for the last 2 years their relationship has become cold and distant. The past few weeks, their building has been covered with a big black tarp because the landlord Friedman is doing renovations. One afternoon the couple chats with Friedman on the street and he assures them things will be done soon. At that moment some helicopters fly by and they see lots of smoke in the distance. It turns out there's been a big fire in the harbor area. Afterward Liv reveals that she's picked their van from the repair shop, but seeing it only makes Tim think about the bad memories attached to it. Liv also announces that she's quit her job and wants to drive to France so they can start a new life, hoping they can repair their relationship. Tim turns her down, saying he first wants to finish his project and they may revisit this idea later. The conversation is interrupted by a call from work, which frustrates Liv even more. That night, Liv can't help but cry in bed. Above the apartment, a strange cloud appears. The next morning, Liv announces that she can't take it anymore and she's leaving alone. However, when she opens the door, she finds a strange black wall blocking it. It's very solid and pushing it does nothing. Tim checks the doorbell camera but the screen is dead. The couple rushes to check the windows only to discover they're blocked with the same kind of wall. Liv tries calling Friedman, but the phone has no signal and the Wi-Fi isn't working either. A desperate Tim yells for help and throws all his weight against the wall to no avail. While looking for a signal, Tim notices his phone acting strangely near the black bricks. He moves closer and the screen constantly glitches. Next they try a drill, but it won't even scratch the strange wall. When they try it on the normal walls, they discover these black bricks are covering them too. Suddenly they hear some noises from the wall they share with the neighbors. Liv uses this drill and this time it does go through, allowing them to see Marvin and Anna. This couple is in the same situation. The black bricks are keeping them trapped, their phones won't work, and they didn't hear anything overnight. Anna cries, thinking they'll die there. Then Tim tries the kitchen sink and discovers they don't have water either. He says they just need to try other possible solutions just like in video games, causing Liv to finally have a breakdown. She reminds him they aren't in a game and they could have left yesterday. After an argument, she walks off and Tim furiously throws his phone at the black wall. Minutes later, Tim notices that a piece of his phone got stuck on the black brick. When he pulls it out, the piece quickly goes back. Liv comes to apologize to him with a mug in hand and Tim takes the spoon, which instantly gets attached to the black bricks too. The couple starts throwing a bunch of metallic objects at it, confirming it's magnetic. Some bricks appear to be stronger than the others, so Liv concentrates the metal piles on those 4 areas. The objects start shaking and fly off, so Tim tackles Liv to the floor to dodge them. Because Tim has acted as a shield for Liv, some objects are painfully stuck in his back. Liv carefully removes them all and cleans his wounds. Later, while they're having a snack, they hear screaming in their neighbor's apartment. They look through the hole and see that the place is a mess. The noises indicate an argument and things being thrown on the floor. Suddenly the apartment goes silent, and Tim and Liv are so worried that they start breaking down the wall to make a bigger hole. After lots of work, Tim grabs a bat and the couple goes through. As they search the apartment, they notice bloodstains on the carpet. Eventually they find Anna on the floor and help her up. The women successfully leave the bedroom but Tim is tackled by Marvin, who tries to choke him with the bat. Liv rushes back and uses her paper spray on Marvin's face, then Tim hits him with the bat. He starts yelling, threatening to do worse if Marvin hits Anna again. However, Anna runs back to protect her boyfriend, saying he didn't hurt her. She explains that she tried to hit the wall and accidentally hit him instead. Liv and Tim are still wary, so they tie Marvin's hands until he can sober up. Afterward, Tim looks around the apartment and finds a door that says no entry. He forces it open and while he deals with the flickering lights, he doesn't notice the black bricks on the window glowing for a second. Liv comes to help him search and they find a few digital cameras plus an axe. Tim uses it on the door to no avail. At that moment Marvin wakes up and doesn't remember what happened, but he still apologizes when they tell him. It turns out he got violent because he took too much medicine after Anna hit him. The couple apologizes to each other and starts kissing. While ignoring them, Liv gets an idea. She draws their building on the wall while explaining that because of its age, there must be a war shelter in the basement with a tunnel that connects to the subway system. The key to reaching it is going down. Tim starts breaking the floor and the group is happy to confirm that the black brick isn't blocking it. After working for a while, they create a hole big enough to go through. Tim descends using some sheets as rope and finds Oswald pointing a gun at him. Tim explains he doesn't want to rob him, but Oswald doesn't listen. Thankfully his granddaughter Lee interrupts him, pointing out they'll be dead in a few days if they don't cooperate. The others come down too and Lee offers a ladder for the next hole. Tim finally cuts the tape from Marvin's wrist, which Oswald finds suspicious. While Marvin starts working on breaking the floor, Lee is frustrated because her phone won't send any messages. It turns out she had a fight with her girlfriend last night and made her leave, so they haven't talked since. Lee also reveals she already saw the black wall at 4 a.m. when she woke up to go to the bathroom. Tim notices something weird in the smoke detector and opens it, only to find a camera. He asks Oswald, who didn't know that was there, and explains Friedman arranged the installation. The group rushes to check the smoke detector in the kitchen too and finds another camera. It seems Friedman has been recording them all along. Liv remembers that Friedman lives in the apartment next to Oswald's, so they make a hole in the shared wall. The group goes through and finds a huge collection of exotic objects, including an ancient blade that Marvin takes. They search the place until they find Friedman dead on the floor with his arms missing. While Marvin runs to throw up, Liv starts having a panic attack. Tim tries to calm her down, but she runs away. Then Tim grabs Friedman's phone and notices he has pictures of the black walls. Afterward, the group goes back to the other apartment and starts breaking the floor. They ask Oswald if he's heard anything from Friedman's apartment earlier, but he hasn't. Oswald is very nervous and Lee helps him take his meds. Liv looks at the newspaper and wonders if the fire on the harbor is connected. However, Tim thinks it's too far away. Suddenly the floor breaks and most of them fall into the next apartment, getting knocked out in the process. Liv rushes to get the ladder and comes down to check on Tim, who wakes up sore but well. The others awaken too and confirm they have minor wounds. Oswald is scared he'll hurt himself if he goes down, but Lee says she won't leave without him. Everyone helps Oswald take the ladder and carry his oxygen tank. In this apartment they meet Yuri, who is a friend of a tenant named Anton. It turns out Anton died and Yuri claims he had a sudden heart attack. He blames the magnetic properties of the wall for messing with Anton's pacemaker. However, Lee notices lots of strange papers piling up on a desk and gets suspicious. Yuri thinks the black walls were put up for their protection by the deep state and thinks it's safer inside, so he wants the group to stay. The others refuse and start working on the hole. Lee looks at the papers on the desk and Yuri tells her that Anton's heart suffered because of the stress of his obsessions. When she leaves the room, Yuri destroys a paper. The hole is done quickly and the group finally reaches the basement. They open an old door and take a corridor into another room where they find a tightly sealed exit. A sign says that it goes to the shelters. While Yuri watches from the hole, Liv hits the sealed door and manages to open it. Unfortunately, this exit is also blocked by the black brick. Marvin loses his mind and starts hitting the door with a mace, so Tim blocks him and Oswald points his gun at him until he calms down. However, Marvin is only pretending and takes the gun to shoot repeatedly at the black wall. To everyone's shock, the bullets are floating in front of the black bricks because of the powerful magnetic field. Remembering the previous incident, Tim makes them all duck to dodge the bullets when they bounce back. Sadly, Oswald is too old to move fast and a bullet kills him. Lee clings to his body while she cries. The group returns to the apartment and Anna wonders if they were chosen for a reason. She says that when she was 15, she was dead for 2 minutes after a bicycle accident, and asks if anyone else had a near-death experience or something similar. Lee shares that her mother died of cancer, and Yuri explains he killed someone on duty as a cop. Marvin obviously killed Oswald and keeps apologizing for it. Tim doesn't want to talk about his baby, but Liv still tells them about the miscarriage, so Tim rushes to another room. Liv follows him and they argue about it, with Liv saying they have to finally open about this because they may die soon. This makes Tim snap and they start yelling, so everyone can hear their argument. Tim complains about Liv wanting him to quit his job overnight, and Liv snaps too, saying it wasn't overnight. Since the miscarriage, Tim has been ignoring her in favor of his computer and refused to talk about it, so she had to deal with her grief alone. Liv concludes he abandoned her and leaves the room. Determined to be more helpful this time, Tim guides the group back to Friedman's apartment to search for more clues. Lee thinks they should also check Anton's mysterious notes, ignoring Yuri when he says he's already read them all. The group splits for the search and Lee notices that one of Anton's papers has the same pattern as the black wall. He also found the 4 special spots that Liv noticed earlier. Anton's business card reveals he works in a nanodefense company, which may mean the wall is made of nanobots. Yuri explains that his friend was a programmer, but he knows no details about his job. In a drawer, they find a broken laptop and phone, causing Yuri to claim Anton threw them at the wall in frustration. In Friedman's apartment, Tim notices that the room looks smaller than the actual size of the apartment. He knocks on a wall and confirms it's hollow. Marvin finds a remote control and turning it on activates a sensor on the wall, but they need a password. Tim blows some dust on the control to find the most used buttons, which narrows the possible combinations down to 24. Lee and Liv continue to check Anton's trash and on a piece of paper, they find the word code. Suddenly Yuri starts laughing and says lethal radiation may get in if they open the wall. The awkward conversation is interrupted by Anna, who has come to inform them they've found something. After a few failed tries, Tim finds the right password and a door opens on the wall. Inside they find the computers that spy on every apartment through the cameras hidden in the smoke detectors. As Anna and Liv arrive with Yuri, Tim starts searching the footage for clues and accidentally sees Marvin and Anna getting naughty. He finds the night of the incident and everyone watches in shock how a dark cloud makes the wall suddenly appear at the window out of nothing. They also watch footage of Anton's body in a different spot from where Yuri supposedly found him. When Liv turns to ask, he's already gone, so Marvin goes looking for him. Meanwhile, Lee moves the scarf covering Anton's body and finds dark bruises. Yuri then appears behind him. In the computer room, the others watch a clip of Anton before dying. He's out of frame, but they notice some lights flickering and the sun coming in through the stairwell, which means Anton managed to open the black wall. Anton reappears in the frame when Yuri pushes him to choke him to death. When Marvin enters Anton's room, he finds Yuri burning all the papers and Lee dead on the floor. Yuri comes closer with a paper on fire in his hand, insisting that the wall is there to protect them. Soon Tim arrives with Oswald's gun and finds Yuri choking Marvin. Then Yuri drops his hostage and fights Tim for the gun, shooting at the ceiling in the struggle. Marvin hits his head as he falls and is knocked out. Once he disarms Tim, Yuri beats him up and starts choking him. At that moment Marvin wakes up and kicks Yuri in the face before retrieving the gun. When he's about to shoot, Liv arrives to stop him, saying Yuri may know how to get out. Yuri tries to attack again so Tim hits him to knock him out. While Liv closes Leah's eyes, the guys tie Yuri up. Tim checks Yuri's bag and finds books about conspiracy theories. Liv tells the others that Yuri probably killed Lee because she found a way out like Anton did. Anna goes back to checking the cameras while Liv and Tim look through the remaining pieces of the burned papers. The wall has bricks of different sizes, which doesn't make sense. One of the papers describes a pattern and Tim realizes it's a code similar to Morse, so Anton probably decoded it. Liv shows him the card and Tim notices that the company address is on the harbor where the fire happened. The guys wake Yuri up and when he refuses to talk, Marvin hits him. Tim shoots at the furniture over Yuri's shoulder to prove his threat is serious, leaving him deaf for a few seconds. Yuri explains that the wall is a defense system that was accidentally activated by the fire at the harbor. Marvin thinks Yuri can't be trusted because he's a conspiracy nut and starts beating him up, so Tim has to pull him away. At that moment Anna announces she's found something. It turns out Anton programmed an app on his phone to scan the bricks, which form a QR code. The 4 special spots need to be pressed by light to open the wall. Liv brings the broken phone she found earlier and Tim accesses the information to recreate the app, then he installs it on a working phone. The group returns to the apartment and uses the app on a door. The 4 spots appear on the screen and Tim presses them, which finally causes the bricks to transform into something more liquid-like. Anna touches it with her finger and the substance covers it for a second before she pulls it back. Then she inserts her whole hand, saying it feels warm and something is moving. Yuri keeps saying it's dangerous, so Marvin hits him before asking Anna to pull her arm out. However, Anna can't do it. In fact, the nanobots keep pulling her in and grab her leg as well. The others grab her body to try to pull her out and notice that the wall is starting to solidify again. Unfortunately, they aren't strong enough and the wall becomes bricks again, pushing them back. Marvin runs to Anna's side in tears because she's now dead and missing her lower body, which explains what happened to Friedman. Yuri laughs and says the wall will never let them leave, causing a furious Marvin to shoot him multiple times before self-deleting. Minutes later Tim apologizes to Liv. He explains that on the day of the miscarriage, something in him broke and he didn't know how to fix it. They hug and exchange sweet words, reminding each other why they are in love. This helps them to finally reconcile. Afterward Tim decides to try the app again, thinking he must have pressed the buttons in the wrong order. Liv notices each button flashes the light a different number of times, so they check the footage to learn the order Anton did it. At the same time, Yuri wakes up. When the couple is about to try again, Yuri attacks by surprise and knocks Tim down with a headbutt. Then he goes after Liv, who steps back and falls through the hole. Tim kicks Yuri down and also jumps in to rescue Liv. The couple runs through the basement corridor and crosses a door, which Tim holds close to try to keep Yuri out. While Liv uses the app on the black wall, Yuri pushes his way inside and starts choking Tim. The app is successful and the bricks finally open, but the men are still fighting. Tim tells Liv to leave without him because the wall is starting to close, but she refuses. Yuri gets ready to stab Tim, only for Liv to hit him from behind with a mace. Now the couple crosses the final door and gets to leave the building at last. Outside, they find the town covered in black bricks. Their van is fine, so they get in and drive away. On the radio, the news confirms that the incident was caused by the fire in the harbor.